Good morning. So, I was having a conversation with my therapist yesterday. Surprise, surprise, I have a therapist. That's because I like to work on myself inside and out. Eat good, exercise, go to therapy and church. But the reason I bring that up is because yesterday we were talking about something that is important that I knew I'm sure this will be one of many videos that I make in regards to this. But the point I'm making in this video is that men have gotten far too comfortable allowing other men to do things for them. In the conversation that I had with my therapist, we were talking about being drafted. We were talking about, being drafted essentially. And because I was saying that I would have no problem with joining them in. Now, I'm 20, just for some prefacing, I'm 28 years old right now. When I was 18, I took the practice test to get into the military and passed with flying colors, like they would have accepted me. But I didn't really do it because I wanted to go. I only did it to know that it was an option. Because when I was younger, I was more of a hippie. I was more on the side of anti-war. Oh, they're not going to get me to work for the government, that kind of stuff. And, I understand that aspect still, although I think that that's a naive mentality. Because now that I'm older and I think about serving the country, that's why I said I would without hesitation. Like if we were drafted or anything like that, if there was a need, I would do that. Because if I don't do that, somebody else has to do it. If I'm not in the military defending my country and my family, somebody else is. And like I said, when I was younger, I had the anti-war aspect of it of, they're not going to force me to go kill people in some other country fighting for American interest. And that's an aspect of it that I still recognize. Like, I don't think that was too stupid for me to be saying as a child. And there are adults who say that. And I don't think that you're stupid for feeling that way. But I think that it is naive because you still understand that outside of, like proxy wars and neo-imperialism, we will always need somebody to defend our borders. And extending beyond the average person's limited knowledge of global political and military affairs, a lot of those stationings that we have that we consider to be neo-imperialism are necessary to keep the infrastructure of the networks of economic relationships that we have going all over the world. Because there's constant espionage, there are constant missions and objectives against the best interest of the United States of America. So I say all that to say that there are men who are constantly cognizant of that, constantly working against it, sacrificing and putting their lives on the line at that level. Of course, there's police officers in the United States that are doing the exact same thing to varying degrees of effectiveness. We can all argue. And I do think that when you sign up to be a police officer, military, any of those things, you are signing up to potentially lose your life in defense of civilians. So this is no way to shirk their responsibility. But I think that more men, we shouldn't be so comfortable with that. Like you should still, military, blah, 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 FBI, all those things. You should still know and be fully equipped and ready to defend your family with yourself and die if the need be. If men don't accomplish that basic mission, that basic life purpose, then everything that comes after it is for naught. In a similar sense, the same thing even goes down, and it's not just about combat. I feel this way about the grocery store. And this is not just about men at that aspect because, women help with the home and everything like that too. I think that we've become way too used to going to the grocery store just to get our everything, me included. I've done that since I was a child. My parents never they grew flowers and stuff. They had a garden, but they didn't farm. They had no that I remember. They did not have any vegetables or anything. I never learned how to do that. So that's a goal of mine, is learning agriculture, hunting, things like that, things that were not taught to me as a boy, because it scares me to think that, and I don't mean scare like I sit there biting my nails. It concerns me, and I am preparing for the fact that we trust one source to get our food from. And if that one source, or, the few sources that we get our food from, decided that they didn't want to feed us anymore, what would we do? And they're like, oh, what are you talking about? They legally have to. That's cool. They legally have to. Yes, that's cool. But those laws could change in a moment's time. And also, what happens when they can't afford to feed us anymore? What happens when they can't stock supplies anymore? Things that we've been seeing more and more lately. And we have no free, like, these are things that grow out of the ground and are born like animals. These are things that we should never have an issue getting a hold of. We are masters of the planet. It should be no issue for us to have food, shelter, clothing, anything that we need. But a lot of people have given up on and not been allowed to manipulate the environment and not been taught how to manipulate the environment in an effective manner. I think that this is strategic. I think that all of this has been a slow churning goal to have people reliant on a certain set of hands to deliver all of the goods of life. And that is super duper problematic. So that was just something that was a real quick hit. We were talking about that at therapy, and I just wanted to share my thoughts with you guys about that and see if anybody has any different types of feelings, or if anybody's been feeling the same. Let me know.